Motorists within the Federal Capital Territory seem to have heaved a sigh of relief following the reduction of queues in filling stations within the city. Though this ease came at an extra 20 naira hike, as the filling stations have increased price from the official 165 naira to 185 naira, with some selling it as high as 220 naira per litre. Joining us via Zoom from Lagos to discuss this is Alhaji Debo Ahmed, the national president of IPMAN. Mr. Debo, good morning and thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Mr. Debo, can you please explain to us why we have seen this major increase and what that is supposed to help achieve, if you can hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir? Can you we are having some technical difficulties there. Once we are able to get Mr. Ahmed back on the line, Mr. Debo back on the line, he would be able to discuss the rationale behind this recent increase and whether or not this would guarantee steady supply of petrol going forward.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve their sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the conversation is on the increase, unofficial increase, if you like, on the fuel price by the major oil marketers. We were talking there with Mr. Debo, the president of Ipman there, and then we had these interruptions. But again, we are joined by Mr. Sunday Echewefun Simon, the energy editor of Daily Trust newspaper, who would also provide some perspectives on this development. Mr. Simon, it's a pleasure to have you join us this morning.
It's a pleasure too. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. We have seen increases in most of the filling stations in Abuja, and that has also followed with frequency in supply. We also hear that the marketers are saying anything short of that price would be difficult for them to guarantee supply. What exactly is happening? Can you bring us to speed with the development at the Federal Capital Territory?
Okay, thank you very much. At least building up to this, last week we had the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, embarking on a one-weekend strike because they felt a lot of their bridging claims were not paid. And then just at the weekend, shortly before everyone started noticing the hike in this price, the NOGASA, Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association, had a convention in Abuja. And one thing they discussed was diesel. They even requested that they were trying to meet with the President Muhammadu Buhari on this diesel intervention. And they said it's not sustainable to sell petrol at 165 naira. And that their members were looking at what they could do. But first, they want the government to respond. They want the Central Bank of Nigeria to grant them at least a 5-month waiver on forex so that they can import more diesel. And that if there is availability of diesel, definitely the price of petrol will also crash to the official rate. So these were what they discussed, and it was a serious concern. And then suddenly from Sunday around within Abuja, some of the major oil marketers, started jacking up their prices, although it's unofficial, but then you can see it, unlike when they do it brazenly, this time around they fixed their price board to 185 naira per liter. However, suffice to say that there are some major marketers, for instance, Mobile still sell at 165 naira per liter. So this is the current situation in Abuja. But what this has happened, what this has caused is you don't get to see the fuel queues anymore. But some analysts are saying perhaps it's because of the holidays, the Salah holidays, people traveled and a lot of things. But obviously, this thing started when the prices, were jacked up. So even at the place is selling at 165, one hasn't seen queues so much, at least for the last 24 hours. So that is the situation of, the petrol supply within Abuja.
All right, so we've heard most of the argument coming from the major oil marketers and, of course, independent marketers as well. Has there been any official statement from regulators, regulatory agencies, maybe like the DPR or NNPC or any of those?
Yeah, the agency that should do this is, like you mentioned, DPR, the former PPRA, which is now the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Now, a lot of us try to contact them, and then they are saying they are going to issue a statement, but that has not been done. So there's no official response to this. But I recall 2 weeks ago, they were within the fuel stations in Abuja, clamping down on stations selling above 165 naira. In fact, forcing them to, revert to the official rate of 165. But when this happened, obviously, since the weekend, and this is obvious, not just with even the, the 1 or 2 unit, stations, but the major, importers, for instance, Iranu is one of the consortium that NNPC uses to import petrol to Nigeria, and Iranu jacked up his price to 185. Shafa 185. So these are the major guys. We expect a kind of immediate action from the regulator, but nobody has had anything from them, and it's all about promise. Well, we believe they might react, or maybe it has come to stay.
Okay, talking about reactions, what has been the feelers on the field from Nigerians, regardless of whatever reaction may follow from this government agency? Does it feel like the Nigerian masses are really keen on an insistence on selling at 165, or they would rather a 185 where these products are available on demand?
Okay, Okay, brother, thank you so much. This is even, the funniest thing about this. We did our survey on Tuesday within at least about 10 fuel stations where we visited, and we asked motorists what are their feelers. And I can tell you more than 80% of them are like, if this is, well, why are they suffering people all this while if they knew they were going to do this 20 naira price hike? Why didn't they do it? This rather than keep people in queues and everything, people had to live there. There are people who said they lost their phones. The time of waking up 5 a.m. trying to go queue up, and then one of those bad boys come around to take your stuff. So these are the risks. So at the 20 naira, majority of these motorists are not worried. They are happy that at least they could see the fuel to buy, and I think that is just one thing. And then, but those who are selling at 220 now, what has happened is that because of the availability at 185 so far, those who are selling at 20 naira, the market is beginning to crash. And I can tell that yesterday I saw one or two fuel stations which have been selling at 220, reducing their price to 200. So basically, that is competition.
And so, what the question that will be leading to this is: are we likely to see a revolt from the Nigerian public against the authorities? Should they move to force these marketers to sell at 165, which the marketers have said is not visible as we stand?
Yeah, in terms of revolt, I think, maybe from the marketers already, this is the revolt, because one of their arguments, recently the regulator, which is NMDPRA, increased the freight rate, which is the transport cost of, haulage cost of petrol from maybe the coastal area in Lagos to Abuja and other places. They increased it by 10 naira, from 25 naira per kilometer to 35 naira. But then the marketers are saying this does not take care of the administrative costs. Salaries are rising, and because they have to burn diesel even at the filling stations to sell petrol. So this is actually a revolt from the marketers. And I think at this point in time, the regulators' hands are tied, and they wouldn't want up to, that's my own opinion, they wouldn't want up to come and own up to this, because Nigerians will have to ask questions. If you're doing a subsidy payment to keep this fuel at 165, and now the marketers are revolting, then what is the place? Where is the place of subsidy? And this also calls to question what a lot of people keep saying, oil experts keep saying, that it is time Nigeria removed the subsidy payment, because this is exactly what we have: subsidy right there, but the diesel issue is causing a different thing entirely, and Nigerians have to still pay through the nose for petrol that has already been subsidized. So it's a big issue.
All right, Simon, so let me ask you this. From your own perspective, or in your own perspective, have we gotten on the road now towards total deregulation of the petroleum sector?
Yeah, the total deregulation of the petroleum sector is actually in the hands of government. And if you recall vividly, 2-3 months way back when this issue came up, after some revolts, the government had to suspend it for another, I think, 18 months or so, and had to raise a 4 trillion naira, budget for just petrol subsidy. But from what we have seen, this is a perfect scenario that has painted that Nigeria may not need the subsidy anymore, because even with the subsidy, we have seen the diesel issue affecting it. But then there are other, analysts who have a contrary view, stating that if there is a total deregulation, as maybe Nigerians think should be, then do you think that petrol will remain at 185? The market, out of fear or whatever, they could have jacked it to 300 if they want. Let's see the instance of diesel now. Diesel was 250, 280 as of November or so last year, and now, in fact, some of these major marketers sell for 850 naira because it's a completely deregulated, market on its own. We can see what is happening with the aviation fuel, for the airlines and what is happening. So they believe that if not even for the subsidy itself, definitely Nigeria would have, petrol would have been on that same trajectory. They are selling for over 800 naira by now. Kerosene is nearly 1,000, and we see the case of gas too, liquefied petrol, cooking gas. So these are the issues. The regulation is fine, but then I think it's a dilemma for now with this diesel issue, the Ukrainian crisis, and a lot of global crisis. Nigeria, one thing I know is that Nigeria is not only feeling the pinch of this diesel scarcity or diesel availability. Everywhere is feeling it. US is feeling it, the UK. So it's not peculiar, to Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon Echefun Sunday, the energy editor for Daily Trust, for providing us with those deep insights. We wish
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
We wish you a lovely day. I understand Mr. Debo, the national president of IPMAN, is now back online. Welcome back, Mr. Debo. Yes. We wanted to understand the situation with the price increase. We would like you to provide a bit more perspective on what we are seeing right now with the increase in prices and how that will guarantee consistent supply of this material.
The pricing because of profession is so high that there is no way that 165 can be guaranteed.
Here, like a direct affront on the regulatory authorities, especially that given that this is a very regulated space.
The NNPC, who is the major supplier of petrol to this country, has to give their petrol to the owners, and the private owners have the price that they have to sell to market. And if the private depots are not selling to marketers, definitely, in order not shortfall on supplies, the marketers, the private owners and the marketers has to agree on the price they have to sell. Because if you are told to give me a price of 8 naira and you are now about 158, have to sell at how can that not be possible? It's not possible. And it's not now doubting that the government should see to whatever the private marketers, private depot owners are doing. Now they have not done anything about it. So definitely in order to keep the country the private depots are selling, and they probably jack up their prices a little bit, because you can operationally be okay with the price once to the public, and you are buying at about 160. It is not warranted. Hello?
All right, so we can hear you, sir. So my question goes to the sector entirely. I've asked this question before, and I just want to get your own perspective on it. A lot of people believe that total deregulation of the petroleum sector is the only way to go, and that's the only solution to the current dilemma. Totally deregulate the sector and allow market forces to determine price, whether it goes high or it goes low. I want to get your opinion on that. What is your opinion on the total deregulation of the petroleum sector?
Definitely, total deregulation it will be very good for the economy, and we will get out of all these dilemmas. Eventually, the price will go up first, and by the time stabilizes, the prices will seem to come down. But the present situation we have in this country, if there is total deregulation, the prices of petrol, the kerosene is going. So we agree with total deregulation, but the government should have a way of doing this so that the effect on the on the masses or on the public.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed Debo, for your time this morning and patience despite the hitches from